listening to the 301st ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the MSP studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend, fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How you doing today, Kyle?
Doing great, Cameron. We got a banger of an episode. I can't even.
We haven't even done it yet.
I can't even wait to say it out loud.
Okay.
This is the best thing I have going on in my life right now.
Yeah, we're gonna do a SEC mascot tier list, and we were thinking about doing this last week. Got doing some research. There's too much lore, so we had to really compile the lore and be thorough with it, so that we can really evaluate these mascots and place them properly in our tier list.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah,
there's
a lot to go through.
It goes deep.
Yeah. Anything else that you're excited about, happy about, unhappy about?
This is it. That's it. That's
happy Juneteenth, everybody.
Thank you. You as well.
Power to the people. We also have to talk about recruiting a little bit because Missouri got a football commit. Before we do all of that, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, leave us a review wherever you listen to us, and you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. Couple news items to get out of the way before we do our tier list. The first one is future Missouri quarterback Matt Zollers is competing in the Elite 11 finals. I'm not exactly sure how that whole organization works, but you have to work your way up through like the regional competition, and then you get to go to Los Angeles for the actual Elite 11. I think after day one, I saw he was ranked 9th out of 11. I think maybe we're overanalyzing these quarterbacks a little bit at this stage, where we're like ranking them. I don't know. They're like just throwing the ball around, doing 7-on-7 drills and stuff.
It looks pretty good to me.
Looks fine to me. And I feel like just being included in like, yeah, you're basically...
Gotta be elite, right?
Yes. And I don't know. It just... I'm glad the stuff Brady Cook is doing or did last year and having him back, and the quarterback recruiting, even though like Jamarion Johnson, he was a big time 4-star recruit from Washington and just kind of had to read the room a little bit and see.
I'm not going to crack this rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being the problem, and then like just continuing, I just saw like offer went out to the first 2026 quarterback from Mizzou. So
it feels so nice to be in good hands with Brady Cook and know that he's going to turn the keys over to Matt Zollers here in a couple of years, whenever that is. It feels good.
In other recruiting news, Missouri got a commitment from 4-star running back Jamarion Morrow from Germantown, Tennessee. 4-star listed at 5'9", 180. And he had just come from a visit from Alabama, like the day that he committed, and had visited Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas A&M, something like that.
Yeah.
On 3, had him at 84% to Ole Miss. And
surprise.
He picked Mizzou.
When are they going to learn, Cameron? When are they going to learn? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Morrow is one of the best running back prospects that Missouri's landed, probably in a few recruiting cycles. He's ranked 139th nationally, like overall recruits on Rivals, and he's the number 2 running back. Last season, he had over 1,200 all-purpose yards and 12 touchdowns. So, and when I watch him, he's a unique combination of like speed and like kind of he's just slippery. That's the word that kept coming to mind when I was watching him. He's just avoids tackles, and he's just, I don't know.
Looks like
agile
to me, like elite balance, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
of just like bouncing off of guys, not going down.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Slipping tackles.
Yeah, like he was tough to bring down. Like it looked like somebody was gonna, get a shoestring tackle on him, and he just, I don't know, he was hard to bring down.
Exciting high school tape for sure. Mm-hmm. With his size, it'll be interesting to see how he's used and how he translates. But like we're talking about the head coach and running backs coach and offensive scheme that sent Larry Roundtree to the NFL draft, Tyler Beatty, Cody
Schrader.
Schrader. So, I mean, what are they going to do this year with Carroll and Noel? And then there's underclassmen still on the roster. I don't know.
I saw a picture of Marcus Carroll recently,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know the one. And if
Yeah.
you're listening to this, you might know the one. He's large.
Yeah.
And in the best way possible.
Yeah. He looks stout. He'll be a stout runner, I
Man,
think.
imagine bringing him down in the open field.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
We're going to have a little bit of I sure wouldn't, that's for sure. A little bit of thunder and lightning situation. Roundtree Beatty situation, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that going on this season.
I'd certainly take that.
Yeah, but it looks like Morrow could probably you could split him out wide, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like his athleticism and skill set just looks like he'd be very versatile.
Yeah, I mean, they were using him like that in his high school team too. He was catching a lot of passes and kind of getting him out in the flat. And yeah, he is a very well-rounded prospect and very, very exciting.
I wanted to point out Gabe with Power Mizzou tweeted, he's talking about out-of-state 4 or 5-star high school players to commit to Mizzou. From 2002 to 2020, there were 12 out-of-state 4 or 5-star high school players that went to Mizzou. That's almost 20 years. There's only 12. From 2021 to 2025, we now have 18 in that time
18
period.
returning starters.
18 returning starters.
Yeah, I just ruined your quote a little bit.
That's fine.
That's
Made it better.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Truly. Like, I don't know what else to say. That's spectacular. And Coach Drinkwitz has been a revelation for Missouri football recruiting. And we're seeing stuff we've never seen before.
This commitment in particular, just like I felt like the internet was just a buzz with like Coach Drink love, because like it was a little bit of a question mark, like where Missouri would go at running back in the 2025 class. Like the kid from Missouri is committed to Nebraska, and it was just kind of a little bit of a mystery. And then Morrow not even supposed to go to Mizzou and commits. He's the 3rd highest ranked player in the class now. And according to On3, and Mizzou's class now ranking is 17th, according to On3.
It's hard to imagine there's 16 other teams that have allegedly done better recruiting than Missouri has. I'm not sure I believe it.
Maybe the quantity's a little higher on theirs.
Yeah.
I
got to perfect that formula. You know what I mean?
On3?
Not just in general, like the team rankings.
Oh, yeah. Anything else newsworthy before we get started on this tier list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Producer Cameron, you ready?
Yep.
Now, how should I preface this? We are talking about the mascot. We're also taking into account like the name, like tigers, bulldogs, gators, whatever. That factors in the on-field mascot. Any live animal, we're factoring that in, good or bad. And, any just weird stuff that we found in our research is going to factor into these rankings. And we'll just maybe kind of go over a little bit of a random order, except I figure we should start with the Missouri Tigers.
Truman,
the Tiger. Of course, the Missouri Tigers are called the Tigers because of 1890.
18, wow.
1890, a militia unit nicknamed the Tigers came together to defend Columbia, Missouri from a Confederate guerrilla bands during the war.
That's a good side you want to be on.
Exactly. Can we say the same thing for the rest of these mascots and teams? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Stay tuned. Truman the Tiger is the official mascot, obviously named after Harry S. Truman. He was named on September 12th, 1986. And the tiger, the Bengal tiger, being used in relation to Mizzou has gone back to the 1800s. Truman was awarded best mascot in the nation several times, most recently this year by somebody.
Wow.
By us and somebody else.
I agree.
So
totally.
Truman the Tiger is S tier
It's classic.
mascot.
Got the classic little tail whip thing he does.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a staple.
Rides that fire engine around, spraying them down.
Nobody does it like Truman.
No, nobody sprays him down like Truman. One thing, unironically, I love about Truman is he just wears the jersey like a fan.
Right.
He's not
just one of us.
He's not in the whole football uniform getup, which we'll see later.
He's not trying to be something he's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Truman is S tier. We all know and love Truman. My daughter loves Truman. Sometimes that's the only way I can get through having a Mizzou game on the TV is because she'll sit and try to find Dennis Gates and Truman.
Two of my favorite people.
Yes. And I need to teach her who Coach Drink is. But
He deserves that at this point.
yeah, there's a lot more going on a football game than a basketball game. Okay, so Truman is S tier. Where should we go from here? You name a school and we'll go there.
Okay, let's go Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
I was surprised at how much lore I was actually able to find here about Texas A&M and Reveille.
Reveille.
Am I saying that right?
Who knows?
I think so. It's a dog. It's like a little lassie dog,
Yeah.
except a little bit uglier,
Yeah.
like a little bit bigger nose or something.
Okay.
It's the First Lady of Aggieland.
They're up to, I think currently we have Reveille 10.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Been plenty of them. There's been a few mishaps
Okay.
with Reveille. Let me give you a few of the mishaps. In 2015, Reveille got loose on the football field, and the First Lady of Aggieland was just going full bore on the football field, and the handler was like chasing after her and like couldn't get up to her, couldn't catch up. There's some pretty good footage of that online. I think eventually they caught up to her. Another mishap in 2010. Reveille bit at somebody, a sorority girl,
Classic.
and there's photo evidence of it on Reddit where the girl is like kind of trying to get close to the dog for the photo, and she apparently like kind of stepped on her tail. And in the photo, Reveille is like got like full mouth wide open, like teeth exposed, like right on the girl's like head.
On her head.
Yeah. So I don't think she actually like full on like bit her face, but like kind of like
Just a little head nibble.
yeah, just a nibble.
Okay.
Yeah, but the photo looks like terrifying if you find it on Reddit. So there's a couple of she's not perfect. But they love her all the same.
So they've got this dog, but where's the mascot? I mean, the mascot is the dog. There's no person.
Is it those guys?
It's the cadets,
They're doing
right?
the weird stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
cadets.
are they the cadets or are the cadets something else?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I legitimately don't know.
I don't.
12th man, that's the other mascot.
Yeah. So I feel like that's got to bring Texas A&M down a little bit that they don't have a person out there in a costume.
It's not that interesting. Let me tell you this though.
Okay.
One more thing. It's tradition.
Mm-hmm.
If Reveille's in class and she barks, the professor is obligated to end class because that means Reveille's bored.
When is Reveille in class?
I don't know. From time to time, maybe she wants to learn something. I don't know. I'm not trying to stick up for them. I'm just telling you the facts, man.
That's interesting, I guess.
That's got to be like C tier or lower. Right?
Yeah.
That's incredibly uninteresting.
Yeah. Aggie just means farmer. They're just doing farm stuff over there. I heard that they're making jalapenos less spicy.
Specifically Texas A&M?
Yeah, in their in their laboratory. I thought this was interesting. Reveille was just a mixed breed dog in 1931. And then the third Reveille was the first to be a purebred rough collie,
Okay.
Lassie type. And all subsequent mascots have belonged to that breed. And we'll get into this.
We'll get into that.
The breed stuff gets wild.
Yep.
So,
There's some lineage.
yeah. I think there's no actual mascot. I mean, I'm tempted to go D tier
I'm
for
fine with
Texas
that.
A&M. I
I
mean,
won't
that's a
even-
cute dog.
I won't fight you
But it
on
tried
it.
to bite that girl, and
That's true.
I don't know. I mean, live animal, there's some ethical implications there.
I don't love it.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, Texas A&M D tier. Let me throw one at you here.
Yeah, go ahead.
let's do an easy one. Easy means boring.
It's a few of those.
Actually, let me go with Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Vanderbilt. Do we even know why they're called the Commodores?
I think they're named that after like a naval officer from the 1880s. Is what I
Okay.
found. I don't know specifically why they chose that, but that's who it's like kind of designed to be.
Yeah. So I've got a little bit here. Cornelius Vanderbilt was known as the Commodore.
Okay.
Cornelius Vanderbilt of the Vanderbilt family of rich people.
I was gonna say, sounds wealthy.
Yeah. When he was 79 years old, he decided to gift Vanderbilt University. He gave them the gift that created Vanderbilt University. That's why it's named after him.
Okay.
According to wherever I found this, Wikipedia probably, the $1 million that he gave to endow and build the university was his only major philanthropy ever. But we have Vanderbilt University now. And so he was known as the Commodore. So that's
Mr. C.
That's where they got the Commodore. And so the mascot, the guy in the suit, is just called Mr. Commodore
Okay.
or Mr. C.
Yeah, he's wearing a chops, cutlass, 19th century naval regalia.
Okay.
Let me tell you something else.
Yes.
This is a wild article I found from the Tennessean.
Okay.
They surveyed 1,200 Americans.
I saw this.
You know where I'm going?
Yes.
Mr. C, Mr. Commodore himself, was ranked the third sexiest mascot in all of college football, all of college sports.
Yeah. Incredible.
I have no idea like how they got there. I don't know if it's literally just because he's a human and he's going up against like animals.
Yeah.
That would probably
But-
do it.
I also saw where when they broke down the survey results by gender, men skewed heavily towards Mr. C.
Really?
Mr. C was the sexiest mascot according to men.
Oh wow. Okay.
So and probably I don't know, skewed it a little bit.
Well, you know, men love war and all that.
True.
You know who number one was?
Probably a cat.
Yeah, actually, for what it's worth, Willie the Wildcat was number one from Northwestern.
He's pretty hot. Yeah.
Sexiest.
So, Mr. Commodore though, pretty cool looking dude with his big old hat. You know.
Yeah, that's a big hat.
And I like a guy in a guy costume. You know, a guy just putting on a head of a man
yeah,
and walking around. You know,
there's nothing quite like it.
you can put on an animal costume.
Right.
It's whatever. But you're just putting on another body.
Just perfecting your own form.
Exactly.
Yeah, that itself. It's got to be like C, right? Mr. C in the C column.
I added another tier just in case. I added
Okay,
the
that's
F
fair.
tier
Okay, that's
'cause
fair.
I thought we might need that.
That's fair. Mr. C and C, I would be fine with B, maybe.
Really? Okay.
Let's place them, and we can always rearrange
Sure.
as we get going.
I'm with you. Producer Cameron, B or C?
Yeah, break the tie.
I
Producer
say
Cameron.
C.
C, okay.
Yeah.
C for Mr. C. That makes sense. Okay, let me try to find one that you might not have as much information on, Kyle, because you're bringing it with these facts. Do you have much on LSU?
Not a lot.
I've got a lot on LSU.
Okay, I'd love to hear what you have in LSU.
Okay, LSU Tigers. Okay, kind of opposite situation with Missouri Tigers.
The bad guys?
Yeah, LSU was like
Uh-oh.
down there in Louisiana. They had this Confederate battalion called the Tiger Rifles, and they were like, you know what? Let's just name our university after them. So that happened.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, let's just name our
Get
mascot.
that out of the way.
Yep. So that happened. The Bengal tiger has been used as their mascot.
You said that kind of like in a cool way.
Bengal.
Bengal. Sorry.
They've been using
Onward.
the tiger since 1936. Now, when it comes to the actual tiger mascot and the real life tiger that they use,
Mike the Tiger.
he's Mike the Tiger. And just some stuff about Mike the Tiger that I thought was interesting. In 2005, they had a $3.7 million project to create a 15,000 square foot environment for Mike the Tiger, the real living tiger.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
That's right. Did you get to tour his little
I didn't go on the
complex?
inside.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to go on the inside. I did walk up to the glass. I said, "Hi, Mike."
He
It
was
was-
he
it
was
was-
visible. He wasn't like off hiding somewhere.
No, I mean it's not really big enough to where he can go hide somewhere. It's
It's
that
like
I
a
can
zoo exhibit,
remember.
kinda?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh,
But
well,
it's
the way you
like-
said
it's-
15,000 square feet, it sounded a lot.
I mean it's large, but it's not big enough to just be like I can't find him. That I remember at least. But it's like literally in the parking lot of the stadium, of the football stadium.
Right. Like between the football stadium and the basketball arena.
Yeah. It's a little sad. It's a little bit depressing, if I'm going to be honest. Like, it just isn't a place that a full-blown tiger should exist.
Yeah.
In the middle of a parking lot.
Yeah. Well, it's better than it used to be.
Okay.
Maybe that's maybe there's a win in here somewhere, because going back in the past with LSU, tradition dictated that for every growl, so they got Mike the Tiger on the sidelines, right, in a little cage. Unfortunately, back
Wow.
in the day.
Okay.
Back in the day.
They really did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And tradition dictated that for every growl elicited by Mike before the football game, that's how many touchdowns LSU would score in the game. For
It
many,
doesn't seem like cause and effect that really
well,
works.
superstition maybe. You know,
Okay.
there's a little magic happening there. For many years, Mike was prompted to roar by people pounding on the cage that he was in. Objections for the cruelty of that brought about the use of pre-recorded growls to play before the games.
That seems like a reasonable pivot.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to tell my wife not to listen to this. She's going to cry.
Mike the Tiger stopped traveling with LSU in 1970.
The real tiger traveled?
The real tiger
The real
traveled.
traveling tiger.
Yeah, he was the traveling tiger. He traveled with the team until 1970, when his cage overturned on the highway.
Oh, my gosh. They're just asking for something like that.
Yes, on the way to the game.
I'm going to say this sentence. They're just asking for that at least a few more times in this episode, but go ahead.
There's a lot of people asking for bad things to happen
Yeah.
in this list.
But it's all for college football, right? It's all for It's all for good stuff.
In 1981, pranksters cut the chain to the outer door and the lock to the inner cage door of his enclosure, releasing Mike. LSU police called the zoologist guy that they've got on staff there, whatever he's called, the tiger doctor, at 1 a.m. to tell him Mike's loose. He's walking around the middle of North Stadium Drive, and
Congrats. It's your job to get him.
yeah, he had to get out the tranquilizer pistol and took 3 shots to sedate Mike the Tiger, and he was safely returned to his enclosure. A little bit out of order here, sorry, but back in 1935,
Just glad they didn't pull a Harambe on him.
true, yes. I mean, when I was reading that story for the first time, I was like, I don't know if I want to read
I don't
the
know
end of
where this is going.
Yeah. The first Mike the Tiger was purchased from the Little Rock Zoo with money raised by collecting 25 cents from each LSU student for a total of $750.
The tiger tax.
They bought a tiger for $750.
From Little Rock, Arkansas?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's
Nothing good happens in Little Rock.
there's more than one tiger sanctuary in kind of like Southwest Missouri, Northern Arkansas area. Obviously Oklahoma as well. Tiger King, that's where he was, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, don't look into that. So Mike the Tiger, it's a real life tiger, just a beautiful animal.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm biased, but
Ferocious.
just an absolute beautiful animal, and a kind of cool looking mascot, like the actual guy in the costume walking around.
Yeah.
But man, they're keeping him in that zoo little area. Like,
Yeah, it's like I don't want the folks here to hold back the true beauty of Mike the Tiger.
yeah,
It's hard not to let it infiltrate my thoughts.
yeah,
But I'm thinking we're looking at least like a C or above here, right?
yeah.
Maybe like a B.
I'd go B.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
makes sense to me.
Captive animal bee. Got it.
Well, it's not his fault.
True. I'll probably be harsher on some of the other captive animals, probably. Even though the tiger does seem like the worst one to keep captive.
Oh, just wait till we get to Bevo. You have to do an hour on Bevo alone.
Okay, we did LSU, we did Vandy. Okay, here's a quick one. Kentucky Wildcats.
I knew you were going to say that.
Do you have any information on Kentucky Wildcats?
Yeah, I do. Here we go. Kentucky Wildcats originated in 1976. That's all I got.
That's right. They did not have a costume mascot until 1976 when they introduced the Wildcat.
I don't know how they thought of that.
Then a little while later, they did release, or they came out with a more kid-friendly costume. Maybe the Wildcat was scaring kids, and he's called Scratch.
Okay.
He's a little bit more like cartoony mascot.
Now, tell me about the one that wears the headband at the basketball games.
Is that Wildcat?
I don't know.
I think that's Wildcat.
His name is Wildcat.
The Wildcat.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you want to know why Kentucky's called the Wildcats?
I think I might actually know this, but go ahead.
They, in 1909, they defeated Illinois 6-2
In football.
in football, and Commandant Philip W. Corbuzier, head of the military department, told a group of students at the chapel service that the team, quote, had fought like wildcats.
Let me tell you something, Cameron. I found that exact quote, like literally verbatim what you just spoke out loud.
Yeah.
And I just decided that made no sense. And so I just I didn't collect that data. I didn't write it down. I didn't document it or archive it. I just said, I don't know what that means.
They
And
fought like wildcats.
what's all that jib jab before that, though? The head of the military department?
You know,
say
you
his,
have,
say
like,
his name again.
you know, Commandant Philip W. Corbuzier. You have like your biology department, like your communications department, and you have your military department.
okay.
I guess.
At the chapel
Interesting.
service.
Yeah, that was at the chapel
Just
service. That was
the
in
chapel
It was a
service.
different day. It was 1909. That was when the commandant still went to the chapel service.
Were they just Kentucky before that?
Kentucky
Just-
football, I guess.
Just
Yeah.
Kentucky.
No. Yeah. Well, 1909, they started calling them Wildcats.
But before that, they were.
The Kentucky football team.
Yeah. Must have been.
All right.
Oh, they were actually called Kentucky State College back then. I don't know. I mean, they've got a guy. They've got two different people in costumes, but
Is there any? Let's do a little bit of like irrelevant comparison to the other folks here. Is there anybody that's less interesting than the Kentucky Wildcat and its lack of lore?
I mean, the Lassie dog is I feel like that's about the same as the Lassie dog.
Okay.
Do we give them any more credit for actually having a person in a costume?
No, I think it's an F for me.
Okay. Yeah. Kentucky F. Oh, wait. I do have it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, let's see.
Tell me what you think. Does this
Okay.
change anything for you?
Okay.
They do have one more mascot. A live bobcat named Blue, who lives at the Salato Wildlife Center in Frankfort, Kentucky. Fans can go meet Blue there since he will never attend an actual game.
So it's like an honorary mascot. If you don't go to the games, are you really a mascot?
I agree with that question. I think it's a valid question. That is nice. You know, I appreciate that they're maybe leaving it in a more suitable location that's respectable. It doesn't need to go to the football game, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It just doesn't change anything for me because
Okay.
it's just I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
But that's good to know.
Okay. F tier for Kentucky.
It's well deserved.
Okay. You pick next.
How about South Carolina?
Mhm.
We got a couple of things going on here.
Yeah.
We've got Sir Big Spur.
Oh yeah.
I believe we're on number 7. He is an old English black-breasted red fighting gamecock that originated in 1999. And then we've got a human in a gamecock costume. His name is Cocky.
Oh yeah. Sir Big Spur and Cocky.
Yeah, nice little duo there. You could cough up $500 to $1,000 to have Sir Big Spur at your wedding.
Wow. What a deal.
Yeah.
Like as the officiant?
No, probably not, but just as a guest or a guest of honor.
Okay.
There's been a little bit of controversy,
Okay.
and I don't know all the details because it's messy. But in 2022, Sir Big Spur officially became the general.
That's right.
It
There's
was
like
some kind of
conflicting
controversy
between the animal's owners
Yes,
and
the current and former owners were having a dispute about its appearance, something with its comb,
yes,
and I don't even know who wanted what, but
they tried to use the owners were accusing South Carolina of just using some random chicken instead of an actual gamecock.
right. It was it was something about if you have the comb, then it's a fighting gamecock.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So anyway, they changed the name of that to the General in 2022. But Sir Big Spur, that's a cool name.
Yeah, that's a cool name.
And I wish that it was still official.
It's and it's South Carolina, and what's that Looney Tunes character that's I'll say,
That was good.
Foghorn Leghorn is his name. He's like, sir, excuse me, sir. So Sir Big Spur. You got to say it like that, I think.
That was really good.
Really get the effect.
And not to be confused with Sir Purr
Right.
of South Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers.
Carolina
but yeah,
Panthers.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Wow. That was blasphemy. Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
NFL team.
they're just calling everybody sir.
They're calling
down
everybody
there.
sir. That's fine. That's that's a nice, respectable
It's
thing
kind
to
of
address somebody.
SUH, sir.
Yeah.
You can try it if you want.
So.
There you go.
Okay.
Did you know the reason they're called the Gamecocks is because General Thomas Sumter, he earned the nickname the Fighting Gamecock in the American Revolutionary War due to his military tactics and his love for the sport of cockfighting.
His love for it?
Yes.
Okay, that's a weird thing to be passionate about. What I'm noticing here is a lot of these names run back to military involvement.
Some general is just either they name it after a general or a general says what they should be named at chapel service. Let's see. Anything else here?
They used to look down on stuff like that. But they do now, actually. I mean,
What?
just dog fighting.
Oh, sure.
Animals fighting.
Yeah.
Orchestrating that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
People don't love that now.
But back then, if Thomas Sumter liked it,
That's true.
it was cool. He was a real trendsetter. Let's see. I had something here. After I don't know. They were playing against Clemson, and a fan drew a picture of a gamecock and held it up through a parade. And then Clemson, okay, I've got it here. Clemson, after this parade, Clemson, originally a military school, and a couple hundred cadets marched into South Carolina's campus and was going to destroy this drawing of the gamecock.
The drawing?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were about to have a battle with knives and pistols at the ready.
What year was this?
This was in 1902.
Okay. I honestly thought it could have been 2002. Wasn't sure.
In 1902, they were ready with knives and pistols. The police had to come defuse the situation, and they ordered the drawing to be destroyed. Yeah.
They were more mad about a drawing than actual cockfighting.
Exactly.
Back in 1902.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. What do we think about this? They've got an actual gamecock.
I think it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And the chicken type animal bird thing seems like a little bit more reasonable thing to keep on hand.
Sure.
We've got a picture of what's his name. You'll barely be able to see it, Kyle. But Cameron, can you pull up? Just throw that up there somewhere so we can. What's the coach's name?
It's not going to get bigger.
I know. What's the football coach's name? South Carolina.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Yeah, Shane Beamer is
wow.
holding the gamecock there in the photo.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Like Simba style.
Yes.
Seems a little bit dangerous, but
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
What do we think here? This has got to be, I mean, this does not seem any worse than Mike the Tiger, LSU.
I'm going A.
You're going A.
I think it's A.
It is very original. There's not,
It's unique.
Jackson State is the Gamecocks. Remember they had cock versus cock. We'll go A tier probably. You remember when that was in the news? That
Yeah.
matchup? Yeah.
Yeah.
A tier, wow.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Do you think really? Do you agree with that? We
I
can
think
go
I
B.
do.
We can go B.
No, I think I agree with A.
I don't want to. You know.
Sir Big Spur. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations, South Carolina.
Yeah, that's a high honor.
That's a big
right
deal.
there below Truman. Will anybody get up there to S tier with Truman?
It's possible.
How How about Alabama Crimson Tide? Alabama's football team was first known as the Thin Red Line or the Crimson White. I'm shaking my head.
Do they know crimson is also a color?
Yeah.
Crimson white.
They were a little confused, I think.
They use the word white as a noun
Yeah.
in that context.
Yeah. Yeah, strange. Alabama went in 1907. Alabama went to Birmingham to play Auburn, and Birmingham's iron-rich soil, in the rain or something, turned the mud red, and they got it all over their white uniforms. So then they
Oh, well, there you go. There's where the white comes from. White uniforms.
had white uniforms. Yeah,
Crimson white.
there you go. But then the clay turned them red, so then they were going to be red now, and the sports editor. That game ended in a 6-6 tie.
They couldn't get the stains out, so they're like, I guess this is
Yeah,
how
which
coaches
is who we are now.
Just roll with it. Now we're the
roll with
Crimson
it.
Tide. Just so
Roll Tide.
Yes, exactly. Just roll Tide.
Roll with it.
The sports editor, after the 6-6 tie, the sports editor Hugh Roberts of the Birmingham Age Herald said that the team played like a Crimson Tide.
Well, okay. Another one of these,
Yes.
where it's just some man in the community just has this much influence.
Yeah, they just said they really played like a Crimson Tide. And so that's how they got their name. And they are the only major university with an elephant as a mascot. Oh, yeah. So somehow we go from Crimson Tide to elephant.
Okay, yeah.
We don't know how.
According to their website, like many of our traditions, multiple origin stories exist.
Like many of our traditions, it makes very little sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe I have something here. Let's see here. In 1930, another sports writer wrote about his shock upon seeing the immense size of the varsity players. And he said, quote, "It was the first time that I had seen it, and the size of the entire 11 nearly knocked me cold. Men that I had seen last year looking like they had nearly doubled in size." So elephant.
We had real
elephant.
journalists back then, apparently.
Yeah,
They had practice access back then.
exactly. And a fan supposedly yelled out, "Hold your horses, the elephants are coming."
That seems a little rude.
It was
It's a different time.
compliment.
Different time.
it was a different time. You could just call people elephants back then.
And it just stuck.
Yeah. So then sports writers started saying they're red elephants.
This is what happens when we go hundreds of years without thinking about this stuff. We end up with the weirdest mascots ever.
Yes. So it was not until the 1979 Sugar Bowl that the official costumed elephant mascot Big Al made his debut. So we got Big Al. He's pretty cool looking, I think.
Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, got those big floppy ears as an elephant does.
I will say I don't want to bleed too much into like overall branding and like all that stuff, but the crimson, on the helmet and the jersey and stuff, it's pretty classic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a nice look.
And again, in the style of Truman, we have an animal just kind of dressed up like a fan, not wearing football gear.
You like that? That seems to be a thing that you like.
I noticed that when I'm looking at the different animal mascots, the costumes anyway.
Yeah.
I don't really care for them to look like a football player. I just want them to look like a fan and look like they belong there in the stands. So,
Okay. Yeah. What are you thinking on this?
Big Al, I mean, they played like
pretty
a
solid.
Crimson Tide.
I mean, that makes no sense really,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Big Al's a pretty cool mascot.
that's pretty iconic.
We go A. What are the detractors? It's kind of boring, but elephant is unique.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
unique factor of like the elephant itself is
And
good, but everything not really matching up.
Yeah.
Everything's just random, not as good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say B, but A is
yeah.
fine.
I'd go B.
B.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're just big old elephants out there. Okay. What next? Do you have a good one here, or a bad one?
You want to talk about Tennessee?
Sure.
Okay, let's get this out of the way.
That's a little bit of a boring one, I think. Maybe.
Okay.
Well, although you have a little bit of lore that I didn't come across.
Yeah, we got Smokey.
Yeah,
Smokey the dog. He's a coonhound.
of course.
They have real and costume versions of Smokey, and I think we're on Smokey 11. I got a couple. I got a couple of stories here about Smokies of old. In 1955, Smokey number 2, was kidnapped by Kentucky students.
Wow.
And for 8 days,
Sheesh.
they dressed him in blue at a pep rally.
Ooh.
That's just brutal.
Put him in enemy colors.
Put him in enemy colors, but they did return him by kickoff.
Oh, that's,
So
that's
at least
considerate
that's
of them.
comforting
Yeah.
to know that they returned him to his rightful home. Okay, how about this one? In 1957, the 50s were just not a good time for Smokey. In 1957, I mean, this is hard for me to believe.
Okay.
I wrote this down like with pen and paper, but I am almost just cannot believe that I wrote this down on paper. But they were playing against Baylor.
Okay.
Baylor had a live bear mascot, and it was taking swats at Smokey at the Sugar Bowl in 1957.
A live bear.
I know this
on
is,
the field.
This is about Smokey, but I'm going to make it about Baylor for a second. They had
Baylor?
a live bear mascot on the field. I'm assuming, like in the vicinity, in arm's length of
Just
other
like-
people.
just like on a leash.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't get over that. That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, and they're just asking for it.
yeah.
Okay, how about this? In 2006, fast forward about 50 years, Smokey 9 bit a Alabama player in pregame warmups.
Sheesh.
Tennessee folks like to say that he nipped the player rather than bit him. So it was just
I think those words are synonymous.
just a gentle bite.
Yeah.
Um,
That's like I'm gonna go on a soapbox here for a second.
Yeah,
That's like
go ahead.
like classic bad pet owner who's like their animal bites someone else.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
making
like
excuses for it.
it's just a nip. You're like, all
And
right.
he gets a little weird around people that he doesn't know. Like, well, he bit me. That doesn't change the
Smokey.
a little bit of that going on.
Smokey gets a little bit weird.
You know how
around.
Tennessee fans are.
Yeah.
They just like to see things, their way.
Yeah. But Smokey though, well, now I'm doing it. Smokey, who did he bite?
Yeah, as we just automatically put Mizzou in the S tier, like,
Yeah,
rightfully
Who did Smokey bite or nip?
an Alabama player in
Well,
warmups.
yeah, you can't have that.
Can't have it.
Yeah. Can't have that.
It's the other team. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just disrespectful. That's all. I'm sure there's more, but those are the mishaps that I wanted to highlight.
And Smokey, the dog, has nothing to do with volunteers. They're the volunteers because of some volunteer militias in the War of 1812.
Okay.
Again, 1812 against Great Britain.
Okay. Yet another skirmish.
Yeah. So they're the volunteers for that. Has
And
nothing to do with Smokey.
Nothing to do with Smokey the Bear.
No. Or Smokey.
Baylor Bear.
Smokey the Baylor Bear. Now we're getting all mixed up.
Smokey, I like that name though.
Yeah.
It's a nice name.
After the mountains.
It's a cute
Okay.
dog. I mean, say what you want about
Smoky
about,
Mountains. Yeah.
There you go. Say what you want to say about Tennessee. Smokey's a cute looking dog.
I
And
agree.
Is that like? I mean, he's like a little too prestigious to say cute. Maybe
No.
I don't know,
you can say
he's
that.
a cute dog.
He's a
Yeah.
dog. Okay.
He's got them big floppy ears.
Yeah. And they also have Davy Crockett. Is that
Was-
right then?
Was he a volunteer?
Yeah, he was like heading up the volunteers or something
Okay.
in the War of
Oh, okay.
1812.
Is,
Something
is
like
that
that.
what the live? Is that the live mascot?
Yeah. It's just a
Or
person
I mean,
dressed.
like a costume?
They've got a
No.
smoky. They've got a guy in a smoky costume,
Okay.
the dog.
and then they have
They have a real dog, Smokey costume dog, and Davy Crockett.
yeah, and the Davy Crockett costume from the photos I saw looked a little bit low effort.
Okay.
It's just like a guy with the coonskin cap,
Oh, okay.
kind of. I don't know who did it first, but it looks too much like the West Virginia Mountaineer guy. He's got more of a whole get up,
Yeah.
and this was just a guy with a hat.
They ripped it off.
Yeah, potentially. How are you feeling about Tennessee here? We have like very even distribution so far on our tier list.
Yeah, we do. I think that's probably like. I think it's like maybe like a C or B territory. What do you think? Change my mind.
I mean, when I'm looking at this list so far, it feels like everything should be shifted down one, and there
Okay.
should be nobody in B tier. But I'm like messing up the whole thing.
We don't need symmetry.
Smokey and them. You think
Smokey
B?
and the gang.
Smokey and the gang. I feel like B.
Okay.
It's like solid, but I feel like we're maybe giving everybody a little too much credit. And I just
Yeah, I feel like this would be C for me.
Okay. We got to be a little
Like
meaner.
it'd be like
I
you
mean,
have
we
the
still have
dog,
Arkansas.
but you still have
True.
like the costume dog.
Yeah.
So that would put that above Texas A&M
For sure.
me.
I just feel like putting Texas A&M down there with Kentucky, honestly.
All right.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Open up a nice little spot for you.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
been really wanting to put A&M down there, haven't you?
yeah.
That's fine.
They barely even, they only have like half a mascot.
I had to
basically.
look it up to know who it was.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, never in a million years would I have been like, oh, who's A&M's
Oh, yeah,
mascot?
Reveille.
Like, they just literally don't have one, as far as I was concerned, before today.
Okay, that's a good argument.
So Tennessee is
B.
B still.
Yeah, that seems fine. What about, who's next? What about the Auburn Tigers?
Okay.
They've been known as the Tigers since the university first fielded a football team in 1892. And their official mascot is Aubie the Tiger. And the nickname Tigers comes from a line in Oliver Goldsmith's poem, The Deserted Village, published in 1770.
Wow.
Quote, where crouching tigers await their hapless prey.
I was going to say that's like, after a poem and make fun of it, but that sounds like a pretty cool poem.
Yeah. Now, tell me what you think about this, though. There's a little bit of confusion because it's the Auburn Tigers, but they're doing War Eagle.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
What in the world is that?
War Eagle is Auburn's battle cry. They want you to be very clear on this. Aubie the Tiger, they're the Tigers. That's their mascot.
Okay.
War Eagle is the battle cry. And according to their website, Auburn has never referred to any of its team as Eagles or War Eagles. To the Auburn family, it's very simple. We are the Tigers who yell War Eagle. Also, since 1930 and continuously since 1960, Auburn has kept a live golden eagle on campus. Since 2001, they have presented an untethered eagle to fly over Jordan-Hare Stadium prior to the start of football games.
Yeah, that's discipline.
Yeah. So those eagle, they got an eagle flying around.
What do you think about just having an eagle as like a pet?
See. Oh, well, I wasn't gonna talk about the keeping an animal, even though that's kind of weird.
Eagle as a pet, though, people are doing falconry and stuff as a hobby,
Yeah.
and they got that big leathery glove thing that they perch on. That's
You ever
pretty cool.
seen like two people like standing almost like nose to nose, and the falcon like flies through the hole?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little trick they can do, a little party trick they've got.
Yeah, training birds to do cool stuff like training a bird to go fly around and then come back to you.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
This is gonna be like a little bit off track.
Okay.
But like we all think like birds are real here.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Well, I think so. Overall, yeah.
Eagles for sure.
Yeah, eagles for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's some birds that is like a little less clear, like maybe
Like
a
the little
little
black ones on like the electrical lines and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Pigeons.
I think, yeah. I think what the deal is you could easily sneak a few fake birds around and nobody
for
would
sure.
notice. Surveillance birds.
right.
Like for all birds to be fake is a little bit ridiculous, I think.
I agree.
But it is like prime opportunity to sneak some
Totally.
surveillance birds in.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, producer Cameron?
That they're like, oh, we're not the Eagles. No War Eagle. By the way, here's a real life eagle.
Yes.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah,
hate it.
that's a little too confusing. Aubie the Tiger is kind of cool though.
Okay.
Is he looking like a football player though? I got to double check that.
Uh-oh. Here he comes.
No, just a tiger in a jersey.
Okay, good.
Just like I like it. Here he is in a suit and tie. Yeah,
Must have been at somebody's wedding.
I like Aubie. Yeah, he was officiating the wedding. I like Aubie, but that's confusing. And they're like, no, we're not the Eagles. Don't even call us the Eagles.
Yeah, that's just like classic D territory for me.
Wow.
You open up a hole and I just
We fill
immediately want to fill it.
Yeah. Yeah. D tier
What
for
were you
Auburn.
thinking?
I was thinking C.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
The Eagle's cool.
The Eagle's
flying
really
around.
cool. That's really cool.
I wouldn't mind having an eagle. You know how sometimes just a random person can put the glove on?
Yeah.
And
You want to do that?
I kind of do.
That'd be a little scary.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. Like harnessing the power of America all at the same time.
Yeah. Golden eagle though.
Yeah. Let's do C.
Okay. You got one for me, or you want me to come up with one?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about. Well, probably not ready to go Arkansas yet, are we?
Probably not.
Got to save that for last.
Just do like Mississippi State.
Okay, take us away.
Mississippi State, they're the Bulldogs. And if you can believe it, they earned their name over the decades by the tough, tenacious play of the
Tenacious.
the tenacious play of the student athletes wearing maroon and white. This one, nobody even said they were playing like Bulldogs. Apparently everybody just collectively was like, they're really they're really playing like Bulldogs out there.
Like, are you thinking it? Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Right.
Yeah, they're playing like Bulldogs. That's what I was thinking.
The official school mascot is an American Kennel Club registered English bulldog, given the title of Bully. And a student wearing a bulldog suit, also called Bully, is a part of the cheerleading team. And they also have a girl one called Belle.
What? Just wearing like girl clothes, or
Yeah.
Okay.
A bulldog wearing a skirt and a bow. Yeah.
Okay.
They're like cheerleaders,
Yeah,
both of them.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Is that? Is that all?
That's all. That's it.
it.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as I'm concerned.
There's no way that's above a D for me.
Yeah, I'd go F.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Thanks for playing. That's an
Yeah.
F.
Yeah, nothing else to say on that, honestly. Better luck next time on Mississippi State.
Yeah, better luck next year.
Yeah, now you go for one.
Okay, how about Georgia? You ready to talk about Georgia?
Yeah. More Bulldogs. Let's go.
More, yeah. A little bit more interesting bulldog here. We've got UGA.
Sure. Yeah.
We're on UGA 11 currently, I believe, as of 2023.
If people generally, if you had to name the name of the mascot, people generally know UGA probably, right? Like SEC folks kind of know.
Yeah, it's spelled UGA.
Yeah.
UGA.
Yeah.
Like University of Georgia.
You got it.
Just
Okay.
now got it.
Yeah, there you go. So they keep them in a little dog house on the side of the field.
Mhm.
I can, if it makes you feel any better, it's air conditioned.
I did see that. Yeah.
I don't even know how they do that, but it's like Disney magic or something that they have that air conditioned, and thank goodness. Elga is, don't get me wrong, he's pampered. Air conditioned doghouse. He travels with the team. He stays in their hotels, of course. And get this. When it's time for him to go to the great beyond, they bury that UGA within the confines of the stadium in marble vaults.
What?
A
Like
mausoleum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's better than 99.5% of people.
Yes.
That's more respectful than most people get
Yes.
for a burial situation.
Yes.
And you know what? Deservedly so.
Yeah, I was reading about that custom-built air-conditioned doghouse. Did you know bulldogs are highly susceptible to heat stroke
Yeah.
in particular? And so you're playing down
okay.
there in the South,
Yeah.
SEC country.
That's true. It's hot.
You got to have AC.
Yeah. Well, you know what else health issues they have are from inbreeding. English bulldogs.
Yeah.
That's caused breathing difficulties, hip dysplasia, and heart issues. And many of the UGAs have died from.
But they just
But at least they die in the air conditioning.
that's true, but they just keep on going. They just say,
keep churning them
we
out.
are not going to deviate from this
Nothing
one
will stop
family
this.
line.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like nothing's more valuable than UGA blood.
I did see, I don't, you may be getting into this, but the owner of UGA, did you see anything? It's been in the same family.
Okay.
All the UGAs come from the same family. And I don't remember their name. Oh, Sonny Sealer from Savannah, Georgia. Randomly, he's an attorney, and he was one of the attorneys in the case documented in the novel and then the movie Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil that is take
Okay.
place in Savannah, Georgia.
Wow.
He's like one of the attorneys in that case in
cool.
real life.
Oh, wow.
And he's also the UGA dog owner. All of them.
All of them.
Yeah. But yeah, Georgia's faced a lot of criticism over having UGA, keeping the lineage intact because of the health issues and stuff.
There was one very, very famous mishap that happened with Uga. And whether it's his fault or not, I don't know. That's up to you to interpret or have your own opinion on. But and I don't know what year it was. It was probably like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago maybe.
1996 maybe.
Okay.
With Auburn.
Yeah. The Auburn player like went out of bounds, like
Scored a touchdown.
probably like went out of bounds like more than he needed to.
Maybe so.
But Uga, he took a little snap at him.
Yeah.
Did he actually bite him?
I
or
don't
just-
think he made contact.
Yeah, but it was close.
Did you know Did you know who Georgia's quarterback was in that game?
1996. I don't know. Probably Matt Stafford. He's pretty old. No, I'm just kidding.
Mike
No.
Bobo.
No way.
Yes, Mike Bobo.
Oh, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Mike Bobo.
Cool.
Did you know that the guy that the like costume mascot? Do you know his name?
No.
Harry Dog. HAIRYDAWG. Harry Dog.
They love those just really straightforward names.
I guess. Also, Harry Dog.
Say it exactly what it is.
Harry Dog. Full cleats. Football
Shoulder pads.
football pants.
Oh yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Like,
He's confused.
yeah, he thinks he's on the team.
He thinks he's on the team. It's really sad.
The mascot. This is just my opinion. Sound off in the comments if you disagree. The mascot is a cheerleader or a fan, or a mix of both.
Okay.
That's what I want them to be.
I've never really thought about it, but I that's fine. If you have that opinion, I don't have a problem with it.
Back in the day when you could play as mascots in NCAA football,
Oh yeah.
that
That was great.
that's probably pretty satisfying to play as Harry Dog,
Oh, absolutely.
because then he's
You
actually.
could play as like the Stanford like trees.
That's right.
Yeah. Pretty.
The Syracuse Orange. But yeah, playing as Harry Dog in that is that's like, he was built for that.
Right.
Can't even do that anymore.
Right. He thinks he's in that video game. Yeah. Anything else?
We're on UGA 11.
Yeah. As of last year.
UGA's jersey is made from the same fabric as the players' official game jerseys.
Man.
And he even has an official student identification card.
Student identification card.
The dog. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
The dog is taking classes at barking maybe to let him out of class.
Maybe.
Like the other one.
He gets bored.
Yeah. We also got another situation where they just said they were really playing like bulldogs. And it had a certain dignity as well as ferocity. Bulldog.
And before that, they were nothing.
I don't know.
Is that like, was there like a time where nobody had mascots and then it kind of started to
Seems like,
evolve into like schools started doing it and they're like, we got to pick
Yeah.
something. And they're like, well, that guy said something about a bulldog.
Yes.
Let's
yes,
do it.
Yes. 1890 to like 1910.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting mascots.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Just finding influential people to make a comparison, make some kind of metaphor.
Yeah. We need some kind of meaning.
Can
Yeah.
someone say a really cool metaphor?
Yeah.
We'll run with it. Okay, well, let me make an argument here.
Okay. You can tell I'm down on UGA.
I'd like to make an argument.
Okay.
Uga lives a better life than you do, Cameron. He is on the team. His jersey is made of the same material as the players. He sleeps in the hotels. He goes to all the games for free and has sideline passes and in his own air-conditioned VIP booth. This man even dies like a king.
True.
This man, he said.
S tier.
S
tier.
tier. Oh my! You gotta be
S
kidding me.
tier.
That can't be real.
Is it just because you don't like these wearing football pads?
Okay. I'll make the opposite argument. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they've got this. First of all, the football pads thing. Yeah, obviously. Then you're telling me, okay, we're inbreeding this poor dog. His entire family line is cursed due to this generational trauma of being inbred specifically into certain preventable diseases.
Hip dysplasia is pretty bad, I'm sure.
Yeah. The breathing issues,
Yeah, you gotta be able to breathe.
Can we just diversify the gene pool here?
Now,
a
are
little
you
bit?
punishing Uga or are you punishing his handler and the ferocious Georgia fans?
all of them.
Okay.
And there's no way that whole thing, he's going after the Auburn player after scoring a touchdown.
That Auburn player's fault.
questionable.
Just defending his honor.
My goodness. I'm ready to fill that D tier spot that's empty. And you're talking S tier.
Yeah, so we've got 2 Bulldogs back to back, and Kyle's trying to put one in F and one in S, and I don't
wild.
understand that.
That's wild.
What elevates the Georgia Bulldog?
Because he gets to go in a mausoleum. Like, that's a good thing.
He's an honorable character
I'm
with
saying-
a lot of lore.
I'm saying that is contributing to the curse. Like, even in death, these poor dogs
Are trapped
Yes.
within the Georgia confines.
Exactly.
Trapped within the hedges.
Exactly. They
Between
can't.
the
They
hedges.
can't escape the hedges.
Okay.
Well, you might have to come back to this placement.
No. You've made intriguing arguments, Cameron.
I was kind of blown away when you said S
C tier?
We could compromise
Okay.
to C.
All right.
That's gonna be one that we need input from the comments on.
Absolutely.
S tier. Goodness. Let me find one that we haven't talked about.
Isn't there a incident with another mascot on this list?
oh, yeah.
we
Should
should
we-
probably, we should probably go into that.
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Nice little segue there. Texas Longhorns.
Welcome
Obviously,
to the SEC.
yeah. Welcome to the SEC. Texas Longhorns. They're called the Longhorns because there's so many Longhorns in Texas. Boring. The original mascot, believe it or not, was an American Pit Bull Terrier named Pig.
No way.
Yes. They're the Longhorns, and they had a dog named Pig.
They're trying to be like 3 schools at once.
Exactly. The costumed Longhorn with the hat on is named Hook'em. The real life steer is
Kinda
called
scared
Bevo.
me for a second. You had like this, just pause for a second. Had just blank look on your face.
I couldn't come up with the right
Scared me a little bit.
cattle related terminology.
Steer. Yeah.
And actually, Bevo is technically a steer.
Okay.
And the reason for that is an intact bull would be too dangerous in the crowded environment like a stadium. So I'll let you fill in the blanks of what all that means. Bevo,
That's where they draw the line.
yeah, you're like, we can't.
I thank God that they're being reasonable about this.
Exactly. We would not want any incidents on the sidelines with Bevo.
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know if the Bulldogs are intact?
I do not know.
Probably not necessary information.
I didn't see if that was the case. Bevo is a Longhorn steer. Bevo's had some issues over the years. He's gotten out. He has
Gotten out.
He once charged an SMU cheerleader who had to defend himself with his megaphone. Bevo.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Bevo 3 escaped from his enclosure and ran loose across campus for 2 days.
Good luck.
Bevo 4 once attacked a parked car. Bevo 5 broke loose and scattered the Baylor band.
Not Baylor again.
Exactly. Yeah. No bear involved this time. Bevo 15 broke free from his handlers during the January 1st, 2019 Sugar Bowl, scattering reporters as he attempted to attack the University of Georgia mascot UGA 10.
None other than the UGA 10. Wow. Rest in peace. Yeah, there's a lot of video of that
Yes.
online, so it's really hilarious. Like, it's just absolutely absurd. Like, just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, I mean, they are
Yeah.
surrounding this live,
Yes.
dangerous wild animal, like, all around it.
Yeah.
And
Reporters everywhere.
let me tell you, they're asking for it.
Absolutely. And that poor thing's probably sedated to some extent to even like be safe.
It's probably on some gummies or something.
Probably. And, they just didn't give him a high enough dose for that kind of environment. But this is just in 2019. They're still bringing this guy
It's
out.
the Sugar Bowl, for crying out loud. That's an electric environment.
Exactly. Oh, my goodness. So,
Seriously, though, like, what are we doing here?
yeah, that's a huge animal.
Yeah.
Bevo and Hook'em as a mascot combination. I mean, they need to do let Bevo be somewhere else. Let him be on a farm.
Just have a live feed or something.
Exactly.
Put them up on the big screen.
Even if you got to do a spot on campus like LSU does, but just, I don't know, give him a little grazing area.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
I agree.
He's cool looking though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sure.
I don't know. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking D.
Wow.
Kyle just wants to fill that spot so bad.
I hate it.
Yeah, let's go D. That's so unoriginal too, Longhorns. Oh yeah, Texas Longhorns, and the mascot's a Longhorn. Yeah. You got any on your paper that we haven't talked about?
Just Arkansas.
How about the Ole Miss Rebels? Yeah, if we're getting into history here, it's not pretty, folks. Ole Miss Rebels, obviously, not on the good side of the Civil War there. They had a guy named Colonel Reb that was the mascot for a while. Not great.
Oh, I thought you were trying to tell me, like, in history, there was a guy named Colonel Reb.
Well, it's a little foggy on, like, who was the original Colonel Reb, if there was one.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, we have for a long time, up until, I don't know, 2010, we just got a person has to dress up as an old Confederate colonel, basically, in an Ole Miss jersey and have fun doing that. So in 2010, they had to vote on a new mascot. They got rid of Colonel Reb. They did like Rebel the Black Bear for a little while. But,
okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
There's an interesting story here. They're the Rebels, and some students were really trying to figure out a creative way to make this work, right? So there was a pretty sizable effort to have the Star Wars character Admiral Akbar as the Ole Miss mascot. He's part of the Rebel Alliance,
True.
and I feel like
It's a trap guy.
it's a trap, but that's a smart way to pivot.
Okay.
You're still the Rebels, but we're pivoting a little bit to the Star Wars Rebel Alliance,
Right.
and that's a little bit more palatable.
Those are good rebels.
Exactly. And
Except you could make the argument they killed a lot of people when they blew up the Death Star and all that, but that's a story for another day.
yeah,
They're bad guys.
yeah. Yeah, they, the people on the Death Star had every opportunity to not be on the Death Star, I think.
It seems a little negligent.
In Rogue One, the one guy was like, I'm just going to forget this. I'm going to go be a farmer. I think probably a lot of them had that opportunity.
Good point.
But you know what? When you're in the Imperial Corps, sometimes it's just your job.
It's hard to get out.
Yeah. Anyway, believe it or not, Lucasfilm, the owners of the Admiral Akbar character, declined to give Ole Miss the rights to use his image for their mascot.
I'm not surprised.
Lucasfilm is flattered that our Star Wars fans at the University of Mississippi are considering electing Admiral Akbar as their mascot, but he was busy leading the Rebel Alliance on a critical mission, so he was not going to be able to show up to games. That was the official statement.
Well done.
So what did we end up with? We ended up with Tony the Land Shark. He was unveiled in August of 2018 and has been a fixture at all Rebel sporting events since.
So the bear just wasn't cutting it.
No, the bear lasted like a couple years and they moved on.
I was going to say, I'm like relatively sure, unless I've had an aneurysm, that I've seen a shark at their games.
Yeah, it's like a guy in a muscle suit with a shark head
Yeah.
and a Ole Miss jersey on.
Pretty sure that's a SpongeBob character.
It
Pretty
did
close.
seem very familiar in that type of way, and that's it. Yeah,
Like Larry the Lobster almost?
Yeah, like
Reminiscent
one of
of?
his buddies.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, they're out there pumping iron. Yeah,
Yeah. That's true. Stolen concept.
that's true. Something about there was like in the 2000s there was a defense, like the football team defense was known as the Land Sharks.
Okay.
And they would do a little fin on their helmet when they made a big play. So that does tie in there a little bit. But
I do appreciate the effort to pivot.
yeah, the Admiral Akbar thing, cool idea.
Cool idea.
You should have just gone with a generic like space rebel
Yeah.
and just said close enough. If I'm in charge, we're like rebranding that whole thing and moving on, but that's not happening, obviously. So we got the Land Sharks. I want to put them in D tier, probably.
Yeah, I was going to go F or D for sure.
Producer Cameron, you think worse than D, or we like D?
I like the shark the other stuff that they have, not great. I don't like that it doesn't match, but the shark is unique, I feel like.
Give it a D.
Yeah, they should have just named, Ole Miss Sharks, Mississippi Sharks. They should have done that instead, and then it'd be
Card shark.
a lot higher on the list. Okay, we've only got 3 left. Let's do Florida.
We've already talked about Florida's logo in the
True.
past, and it's nice.
We liked it. We all
liked
three
it.
liked it, I think. Well, it's Florida. They're the Gators because there's so many alligators. Some guy started putting a gator image on like pennants and stuff that he was selling way back in the early 1900s. Of course, when all this is going on.
The mascot revolution.
The mascot revolution. He's putting the Gators on stuff, and eventually everybody's like, "Yeah, sure, we're the Gators." And then, in 1957, up until 1957, a live alligator named Albert. Let me try this one more time. A live alligator named Albert appeared at games from 1957 till 1970.
Any relation to?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I wish. No. Then they pivoted to costume mascots Albert Gator and Alberta Gator. I assume they're a couple. And they're the official mascots. And that's all I have on Florida. Gators, they're the Gators.
They used to be really good in the Mascot video game, at least one of the ones that I played. That's got to count for something.
I wonder if they were like both represented or if it was just Albert. I want to see it. I want to see,
I don't know.
Alberta throwing it deep to Albert.
Pretty standard. Scary a little bit.
A little bit. Without getting too much into the branding, they do the Chomp, obviously, the Gator, Florida. I mean, it is a nice cohesive
It's a story.
thing they got going there.
Yeah.
There's just no lore to back anything up because it's just so obvious.
Yeah. It's just
There wouldn't need to be.
Yeah. Did they ever have any live alligators? I think maybe they stopped in like the 70s with like live alligators.
Where's he been?
Just move on.
Where do you want to put him on the tier list?
I'm thinking like C.
Yeah. I'm with you. C.
I do think the gator's pretty unique.
Yeah. But what else are you going to do?
Like what puts the elephant over the gator for you?
Well, the elephant is way more unique.
Than a gator?
Unique and like
Oh, yeah. I
relevant to college football.
Yeah, I think Yeah, you're right about that, Producer Cameron. The uniqueness factor is equal probably to the elephant. I'm thinking more like it's just kind of a given that the Florida Gators, I mean, what else are they going to be?
Land sharks.
That's what I was going to say.
That might be much worse.
Just the regular sharks.
Yeah. They were always going to be, but they got the swamp. It's very cohesive.
It is.
All of that.
It really is.
I love cohesion.
Yeah. Okay. Are we saving Arkansas for last?
That's fine.
That leaves second to last. We have Oklahoma Sooners, and I've got some lore here for you, and it's not great, folks. I got to be honest with you. This is a history thing that just doesn't look good from our vantage point here in 2024. But the University of Oklahoma knows that, and they're very upfront about it all, and they try to own it. When you go look at their traditions page on their website, it starts with this. At the University of Oklahoma, we seek to learn lessons from history. These lessons help us to create a fairer society in the future. Does that stop them from naming their stuff after all this stuff? No, not at all. But when we're talking about the Oklahoma Sooners...
We're aware, but we don't care.
Exactly. Obviously, this is all on their website. It is pretty interesting. The Oklahoma Territory was opened up for settlers back in 1889, which is kind of insane. Like 1890s is like the beginning of the mascot boom, and we're also just sending settlers to Oklahoma. Like that doesn't
same timeline.
Yeah, that doesn't compute that's like around the same time in my head. Anyway, let me find the right spot here. So basically, they would do this thing called like a land race or something. I gotta find it. They would do something. They would do a land run. There was the 1889 land run, where literally you would get your wagon ready, your schooner or whatever it's called, schooner, something like that. That's like the little covered wagon thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when they would fire a pistol, you literally raced to get a plot of land, and that was yours.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Natural selection.
Yes. And the people doing that, running the race, were called boomers. And if you jumped the gun and cheated and started early, you were called a sooner.
So it's a
you
bad thing.
You went too soon.
You went too soon. You were a sooner. But then they like tried to reclaim the word sooner, and they that turned into like you're an energetic can do. It was like part of the can do spirit.
Oh, okay. Just an eager guy.
Yeah, just eager. But the boomers were just soon enough to go grab some land, and in their little wagons. And there's two horses that are actual costume mascots called Boomer and Sooner. And they also, somebody, cheerleaders, or I guess they probably just the crew, what's the word for the wagon? The wagon crew, I'm going to call them, rides that wagon out onto the field on game day. And it doesn't always go well. There's a famous video.
It's risky.
It is risky. There's two videos, I think, of the wagon turning over. They're cutting the corner too sharp. The wagon spills over.
Just full on oopsie daisy.
Yeah.
Just
People flying everywhere.
yeah, rolling.
Hopefully, you pray to God the horses don't get hurt. They didn't sign up for that.
They're just running.
Yeah, we got a situation here where none of it's good, in my opinion.
It's all bad.
It's all bad. The horse costumes are fine, but I don't know. What are you thinking here on Oklahoma?
It's one of the worst traditions in sports.
Yeah.
The covered wagon, it's just brutally nonsensical, completely unnecessary. It's tacky.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Preach.
It's F worthy for me.
F worthy. I'm with you. If you just scaled everything back and just had the two horse costume guys, that'd probably elevate you to D or C tier with some of the less inspiring regular old mascots, but they got a lot going on there. That leaves Arkansas. In Arkansas, it's kind of a unique case. Go ahead, kick us off.
Arkansas. Tusk 6 is what we're on. He's a Russian boar.
A real life pig.
Let me give you a little bit of a history lesson, Cameron. They've got their own man that said something and started a trend.
Of course.
They used to be the Cardinals,
Right.
but in 1909, after a basketball game, a former coach whose name I forgot to write down.
I got it for you. Hugo Bezdik.
Hugo Bezdik said they played like a wild band of Razorback hogs.
Ridiculous.
How many people are just grandstanding saying metaphors?
I guarantee you they
with
did not
zoo
play
animals.
like a Razorback hogs, but whatever.
I don't even know what that means.
They're out snorting around. Just,
Just rooting around on the ground.
Just sweating a lot.
They're just all hairy.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's how they became the Razorbacks in 1909.
Okay.
We're going to take a slight detour here. There's an interesting nugget I found here.
Take me on a trip.
That has nothing to do with the Arkansas Razorbacks, but it's just as interesting. Did you know there's an Arkansas School of the Deaf?
I believe it. They should get schools.
They are a mascot. They have a mascot.
Uh-huh.
It's the leopards. So they are the deaf leopards, and that is actually real. I wrote in my notes, actually real.
That shouldn't be allowed. Hope
They must just lean into that. I don't know.
they must.
It's yeah.
For their sake, I hope so. I hope they're in on the joke.
I hope they wrote that joke. Anyways, back to the Razorbacks.
They're feral hogs.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this before on this podcast. What an insane thing to have as your mascot.
I almost pity them a little bit. Like it almost like there's like a tiniest little sliver in me that's kind of like, oh,
That's too bad. Yeah, the animals themselves?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just looking at the pig, it's like
yeah. I thought you were talking about like the fans.
No.
Yeah.
None of that.
Right. No, the animal itself, it's like, man, there's like, again, just cursed by nature, cursed by God, basically.
Just born into
to
it.
just overpopulate and then just have to be massacred, every once in a while.
Yeah.
And that they're like just shooting them from helicopters in
Yep,
Texas or something.
They'll do that.
They're an absolute nuisance. And, when I think about the dangers of feral hogs, I always remember the movie Old Yeller.
Uh-oh.
And I know you two aren't very familiar with Old Yeller, but there's a scene where, I can't remember the kid's name, is trying to lower a rope down from a tree and snag him a hog. And Old Yeller's trying to help him with this. It's a nuisance problem for this family. They're just trying to run their family farm while the dad's away at war or something.
Yeah, these hogs are just born to die.
And one of the hogs gets a hold of Old Yeller, hurts him bad. And the kid has to like hide him in a little log and come and go get help and come bandage him up and stuff.
I hate it.
They went after Old Yeller. I don't know. They're ate up with hog stuff in Arkansas. They're hog calling competitions. That's where we got our soundbite.
It's a whole life.
Yeah,
It's a lifestyle.
it's a lifestyle. All right,
Imagine like dedicating your entire life to a feral hog.
it's insanity.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. They would have a live hog at the games too for a while. It started in the 60s. And then eventually they moved on to a uniformed mascot family, including Big Red. They call him the traditional mascot. Then they have a lady one called Sue E. And then a kid's one called Pork Chop. Big Red, Sue E, and Pork Chop are the Razorback Hog family of mascots.
One big happy family.
Yeah. Also, they did something called Boss Hog, a 9-foot inflatable mascot. He joined the family in the 1999 football season.
Just building the whole ecosystem here.
Just too many hogs.
Too many.
They don't they understand? They're invasive.
They're invasive. They're ugly.
They're creeping up into Missouri.
They don't do anything cool.
No. My goodness. F tier, F minus.
Easy decision.
Yes. Add a row below. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
F minus.
F minus. Get their own row.
Yes.
For the audio only listeners here, we're doing a tier list.
We're doing a tier list. We had to give them their own. Producer Cameron messed up the entire tier list. He'll get it figured out. But Arkansas down there by themselves.
Deservedly.
No redemption for that beast. Kyle, looking at the tier list, if Cameron can get it sorted here. There we go. Does anything stand out to you? Did we mess anything up? Obviously, we got nothing. No other mascot, despite your best efforts, reached Truman level of excellence.
That was probably for the best.
But as we look down here,
Sir Big Spur.
Sir Big Spur. Sir, he's up there in A tier all by himself. That seems right to me.
I like it.
Yeah. So Truman in S tier, Sir Big Spur in A tier. We've got Mike the Tiger, whatever the elephant's name is from Alabama, and Big Al and Smokey from Tennessee. They're in B tier. Then we have Mr. C from Vanderbilt, Aubie the Tiger, the Georgia Bulldog, whatever his name is, and
Ugga,
and Albert Gator in C tier. Bevo and
Mr. Landshark.
Mr. Tony the Land Shark in D tier, right where they belong. And then in F tier, we have Wildcat and Scratch from Kentucky. Whatever Lassie's name is from A&M. Reveille from A&M. All the different Bulldogs from Mississippi State. I think they're all called Bully and Bullette or something. And then the just abomination that is all the stuff that Oklahoma has going on with Boomer and Sooner. And then down at the bottom in F minus tier are the Hogs.
It feels good.
Yeah.
Feels right.
This is the definitive list.
Objectively.
We really nailed it. And
we did the research, so
yeah.
We know.
Against all odds, when We had to really compromise on UGA, but it turned out right.
I think it evened out.
Any qualms, producer Cameron, with the tier list?
I just like the Gators, but
I can understand that.
Yeah, they're a nice couple.
That's really my.
They seem
like
I
would just put them above UGA.
Well, I would too.
That's fine.
Kyle skewed that one a little bit.
Albert and Alberta
Somebody had to
Gator,
fight for him.
they'd be fun to like come hang out with the group, the friend group.
Oh, sure.
Fun to come officiate.
Yeah, I'd let them officiate my wedding.
Sure.
All right. Well, that's the tier
was
list.
fun.
Are we done here?
I think we're done.
Probably. Let me see who I need to thank. I need to thank you, Kyle. I need to thank you, producer Cameron. Thank you. Thank you for making this possible. And special thank you to our Patreon supporters. Britt Treese, Ryan D. Moore, Tristan, Ben Smith, Parker, Daddy JD, Tim Keynes, Tyler Harsel, Brandon Garofalo, Brandon Hanks, Matthew Tilley, Luis Hernandez, Joshua Jacobson, and Mike Bobo. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. You can find this podcast. Well, we love you very much, and you can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we're on Twitter at Missouri Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
We love Mike Bobo.
Yes, we do.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
Thank you everyone for listening. We will see you next week after Mike Bobo.